Welcome to the official YouTube of my podcast and really just my social writing and sports talk and everything I'm trying to do right now. I'm going to talk Kevin Durant. You guys will see that in a couple seconds, but I just want to say thank you guys, and I'm back, and please subscribe. I'm going to leave my Substack links down below, my Spotify link to the podcast, and yeah, let's talk Kevin Durant. If you grew up in the late 2000s and 2010s, there's no athlete you want to be more than Kevin Durant. He was the epitome of the NBA world, peaking in 2014 when he won his first and only MVP and gave the incredible "You the real MVP" speech that many people my age still quote today. He captured the imagination of many who were dazzled by his soft scoring touch, yet he was 7 feet tall. During the introduction of the NBA for many kids my age, Kevin Durant was the only player who could truly go toe-to-toe with LeBron James. And if you were like me and hated LeBron during his Heatles days, you idolized Durant, putting all your faith into him to defeat the so-called villain, LeBron James. And it's easy to forget now, but the Thunder were actually favored to win the 2012 finals. But as Game 5 ended, we saw Durant, Westbrook, and Harden embrace each other. 5 years would pass before we'd see Durant in the finals again, and it would not be in a Thunder uniform. In the 2012 offseason, the Heat and Thunder felt destined to become the modern-day Celtics-Lakers, with Durant and LeBron cast as Magic and Bird. What happened next was something none of us would have predicted. Instead of becoming LeBron's greatest rival, Durant's career took a different path. Over the next 7 years, he went from the most beloved player of a generation to a basketball nomad, drifting from team to team, chasing rings, belonging, and respect from fans. A player who always felt on the brink of greatness and everything we wanted, but he could never quite achieve it. He feels like Don Draper in Mad Men, always reinventing himself, but the truth, and just like Don's, there might not be a final version. No perfect campaign, just the man trying to sell himself and us on the idea that this time it'll finally mean something. OKC became the dynasty that never happened. Just another what if for fans to discuss on Twitter and message boards. A few months after the season, the Thunder traded Harden because they refused to go into the luxury tax and pay him additional $4 million. That move instantly became one that would be questioned over the next decade. Durant and OKC spent the next 4 years chasing something that never came. The Westbrook injury in 2013, falling short to the Spurs in 2014, and most painfully, the blown 3-1 lead to the Warriors in 2016. Meanwhile, out east, LeBron rewrote his story, conquering the Spurs in 2013, returning to Cleveland in 2014, delivering on his promise with a performance for the ages. The man we had spent years rooting against became impossible not to love. Even as a former LeBron hater myself, everything changed when he went home to Cleveland. The idea of winning a title for your hometown team, returning after the owner and city turned on you and burned your jersey, it was something out of a Hollywood script. However, despite the new love for LeBron, our love for Durant remained. When Durant and OKC were up 3-1 against Golden State, we felt destined that we were going to get what we'd been waiting for. LeBron versus Durant, both in their primes, both with equal supporting cast. The rivalry we thought would define this generation was finally here. Only like much of Durant's career, it was not meant to be. Klay's Game 6 performance changed the series. Steph's Game 7 dagger was the final blow. Steph and the Warriors had come out of nowhere and hijacked the rivalry we dreamed of. KD's free agency now loomed over our heads. It seemed like something was going to change. July 4th, 2016, a day that will live in sports infamy. I still remember exactly where I was when it all happened. I'd just gotten back from a week at the lake with my family. I stopped in at Walmart before going to July 4th party with my brother. We received the news. Kevin Durant signs with the Warriors? My brother and I were stunned. This can't be real. What? Why? He just ruined the league. Why would he do this? We questioned. The player that everyone in my generation called their favorite had just betrayed us all. We did not understand why. What was supposed to be the continuation of the greatest NBA season of our lives was now done. All the questions. Will LeBron submit his GOAT status? Will KD and Russ ever be back? How did the Warriors come back from the most shocking choke ever? What's up with Kawhi and the Spurs? All those were now answered. There would be no contest. There was no reason even to play the games. Everyone knew what would happen. The Warriors would go on to win back-to-back titles, just like everyone predicted. The 2018 Rockets, the only real threat, fell apart when Chris Paul got hurt. J.R. Smith's finals meltdown in Game 1 summed up how hopeless it all felt. And by 2019, it was almost poetic when injuries finally caught up to the Warriors. The same luck that helped them win their first title had finally come back around. In those 2019 finals, it was supposed to be the moment that made it all make sense. Game 5. It was the triumphant return of Durant, who had been out with the calf strain since the Western Conference semifinals against the Rockets. KD was returning to help lift the Warriors out of a 3-1 hole. It was Durant's time to finally take the reins as the league's best player. With LeBron's first major injury and the Lakers not making the playoff, the throne of the best in the league looked to be available. The path for Durant was simple. Come back from injury, lead the Warriors to 3 straight wins, win your 3rd straight Finals MVP, and submit the Warriors as the league's best dynasty ever. Only in the second quarter did those dreams become nightmares. Durant went down with the Achilles injury, and just like that, what seemed certain now was all in doubt. He risked it all, his body, his legacy, his future, all to try and prove something to a fan base that would never embrace him. When he was lying there, holding his leg, he knew. When the dust settles, Durant had a torn Achilles, 2 empty rings, and a growing sense that nothing he could do in the Bay would ever fill the void he was chasing. It didn't matter that basketball would probably never be played at a higher level than the 2017 Warriors. The fans did not care about that. We wanted competition. We wanted all-time playoff moments and thrilling games, not one all-time team. Durant always said he didn't care what the fans thought. But was this true? The burner accounts, the Westbrook hate, the cryptic quotes. It felt like the Durant we fell in love with was drifting away. His titles in the Bay never resonated with fans the way he hoped. He took the easy road to a title. He joined a team that was already built, already a champion. A team that won a record-setting 73 games the previous season. It took the greatest peak the sport had ever seen from LeBron for the Warriors to not win back-to-back titles in 2015 and 16. The Durant titles in Golden State felt inevitable rather than special. They felt cheap. And deep down, Durant knew it. That is why in the 2019 offseason, Kevin Durant had the chance to get us all back on his side. He had the chance to pull LeBron, go from villain to hero, from bad to good. He had the chance to build something of his own, something that was his. It seemed the Knicks should be the choice. Go to the biggest market in the league, in the mecca of basketball. Bring the Knicks a title, drive the bus, and you will go down in history. Everything before would be forgotten. And it was to the joy of basketball fans around the globe when Durant left Golden State for New York. Only it was the wrong team there. Instead of revitalizing the biggest market in the sport, KD chose Brooklyn. The Nets' tenure reached its climax with what should have been Durant's greatest career achievement. In Game 5 versus Milwaukee, he delivered the performance of a lifetime, one of the finest in playoff history. Harden was a shell of himself. He could barely move around. Kyrie out with injury before. It didn't matter. Durant turns back the clock and summons everything we've been waiting to see since he was the kid in Seattle. 49 points, 17 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 blocks, 3 steals, all while shooting 70% from the field. 20 of those points coming in the fourth, capped by a dagger 3 and game-sealing free throws. The Durant we had been waiting 5 years to see, the one we thought vanished when he joined Golden State, had returned. The lovable Durant. But we all know what came next. Milwaukee wins Game 6 at home, and in Game 7, Fate betrayed him by inches. Kevin Durant's foot on the line, a size too large. If anyone else takes that shot in NBA history, it's a three. But Durant's size and unicorn scoring ability came back to bite him. That's what we all loved about Durant. That was supposed to be his version of LeBron down 3-1 in 2016. His version of Jordan in 1998 against Utah. His version of Bird steal against the Pistons. And just like that, weeks later, Giannis had the moment that was supposed to be Durant's. The 50-point masterpiece in Game 6. Durant sitting at home, he could only watch as Giannis lifted the trophy that was meant to be his. The contrast was cruelly poetic. When Steph the next year had his moment against Boston in Game 4, it was officially over. What seemed destined was gone. A decade that was supposed to be defined by LeBron versus Kevin Durant had been hijacked by Stephen Curry. None of us saw it coming. He had stolen the role Durant was meant to play. It was Steph, not KD, who became LeBron's biggest rival in the story of this era. It was Steph who was now in the conversation with Kobe, Shaq, Hakeem, and Duncan. In the years that followed, it all felt so strange. The Harden saga, all the questions surrounding Kyrie, Steve Nash drama, trade demands, and injuries. It felt like Durant was not even the same person who dazzled us in OKC all those years ago. Like the guy who gave the MVP speech and called Mark Cuban an idiot was gone. A bitter Durant had now replaced him, one who fought with fans online, one who felt misunderstood by the media. Like George Costanza warned us, a George divided against itself cannot stand. It felt like Durant had divided himself when he left OKC. And by the time he signed with Brooklyn, that version of Durant was dead. Following the Harden trade, Durant and the Nets would be swept by Boston. 6 months later, it was all over. Kyrie was traded to Dallas, Durant to Phoenix. But just like the Brooklyn era, Phoenix was an unhappy team, weird quotes, new coaching hires, and trade requests. It was the same thing all over again. A Suns team that had made the finals 2 years ago, followed that up with a 64-win season, was then blown out in back-to-back playoff series, and last season failed to make the playoffs. This past offseason, Durant finally got his wish. A trade to his preferred destination, the Houston Rockets. Houston isn't perfect, but they're built to matter. A team that expects to be playing in May. A team good enough to dream. In what feels like the final act of Durant's career, this might be his last chance to rewrite the story and remind everyone why he was once seen as the heir to the throne. The stage is his again. The question, as always, what will he do with it? Opening night, Durant faces the last team that truly felt like home, the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder. A team that many are already calling a future dynasty. Across from him stands SGA, cast in the role Durant was meant to play just 10 years ago. The homegrown superstar, the master of the mid-range. It's poetic, really. Durant now faces the team where it all started. The one that became everything he was searching for. Across from him is not an enemy, but a reflection. SGA is what Durant once was, the hope of a city, the man carrying the small market dream. And for Durant, this might be the last chance, the final chapter to remind us, and maybe himself, of who he really is. Not the villain, not the wanderer, not the man with the burner account, but the kid from DC who made basketball look effortless. The one who made us fall in love with the game in the first place. And maybe this time, he finally reminds us what he's been chasing all along.